this video we are going to look at how we have approached this blended learning challenge for our practical subject. So these are the four areas that I want to focus on and the approaches that we made on the website. So first of all, let's look at the curriculum. So the website was designed to run alongside the lessons that we were running in college, but also remotely online through Teams. So here you can see we've got the 3 year groups, so we'll have a look at the lower 6. The layout of this is similar for each of the year groups, so you can see the subjects, so we'll have a look at graphics. And the layout of these pages is pretty much the same in all of the subject areas. We have tutorials, we have the website galleries. I'll explain more about that later on. And then here you can see we have the example gallery from previous year groups. And then this is key really, these sections here. These are all the projects that we run throughout the year. So here's the architecture one. So the architecture illustration is one of the first projects that they tackle. So here we have a video, is linked to a video for the introduction to layout design. So these are all lectures that run alongside the material that we're discussing within the classroom and also within the digital Teams lessons. So like here is a workshop that relates directly to this project. So, you know, introducing editorial design and how they can approach editorial design in Photoshop and in Illustrator, etc. Here we have the Julie and Opie example link, so we're sharing with the students good practice within their year group. So this model of lectures, workshops, examples are repeated over and over again for each of the projects that we tackle, and embedded in that is additional material and additional workshops. Next up is workshops. So as you can see, here we have some initial tutorials. So these are the basics that we found that we had to cover with all the students. So these were like introducing them to Pages and other pieces of software that a lot of the students had never used before. So these introduction tutorials, these workshops were shown across all the 4 subject areas. And then as you go down into different sections, you can also see that we have the how-tos. So this is like, you know, Photoshop basics, for example, so how to use the dodge and burn tool, how to level. And what we found looking at the data is that the students go back and watch these tutorial videos and workshops over and over and over again, and from all 4 subject areas. So for example, this particular one is, specific to the pinhole camera project. So for students that were having to isolate during this time, this video shows them how you can make a pinhole camera at home. So that was a practical workshop that we filmed, but the majority of the workshops were sort of screen-based, very much focused on software, because this was areas where the students really did need support. Alongside this, we added additional workshops, so looking at, for example, what makes a successful photography critical link. Yes, there were workshops, practical workshops that we filmed. There were also workshops on how to use pieces of software, and then we also had workshops on how they could improve on their work, or their existing work, should I say. So the workshops played a really key role, and when we looked at the data from our YouTube channel, we found that our students are going back watching these over and over and over again. So it really does highlight that the workshops and these additional skills that we're teaching them really are being embedded within their work. The next up is the student galleries. Now, after recent focus groups this year, this was what the students valued the most. So in each subject area, we've asked every student to make a website. Now, here you can see the lower 6 photography cohort. So these are all the students in each of the classes. So if we click on, let's click on Poppy. So Poppy is a student that does graphics and photography. So here in a photography, you can see all the projects we've done so far. If we click on the Hold Still project, so this was made during lockdown, just after Christmas. What this gallery enables students to do is see what each other's doing, as well as us being able to keep a track of where they are in terms of the project. But you can, Poppy can look at Dom's, other students from other classes can also view each other's work. And what we found is that this supports that, that peer-to-peer support that was missing, because it's very difficult to do sort of critiques online. So having students build their own websites and share their work with one another, we've found the actual work and the standard has really improved. Now, another key thing is, especially with the lower six, because we have asked the upper six to also make their websites instead of making a sketchbook, the lower six students can look at what the upper six students are doing. And we're finding they're doing that. They're taking an interest of what their second year is going to be like and looking at the standard of work that will be expected of them in their second year. So you could be, a lower six doing an architecture project or doing a project about movement and time, can look at another student in the upper six and look at how they've approached it. Even looking at the critical links that they'd looked at, the research they'd looked at, and how they'd approach certain projects. This sharing of ideas and celebrating each other's work has been it's played a vital role this year, and is definitely something that we're going to keep way into next year as well. The final section that I want to highlight really is a series called A&D Talks. Another one of the issues or concerns that we had was that because the students were not in the classroom and in that studio environment, that sometimes when you're in the classroom you could be speaking to another student about a project, and students will listen into that and into those conversations about artists, and they'd share their views or find an interest in a conversation that's actually being had by a teacher and another member of their class. So A&D Talks is basically a series of lectures about artists, art and design, movements, and basically anything. And they are lectures just exploring loads of different fields of art and design. And the idea is that the students can drop into these, have a listen of them. Sometimes it relates to the project that they're doing, and sometimes it doesn't. Some of them, may listen to the architecture A&D talk about Daniel Libeskind, and that might really influence a project that they're working on now or a project that they'll work on in the future. So A&D Talks is almost like an additional, almost like an enrichment that runs alongside the curriculum, but we found it's really had a positive impact. And actually, again, when we look at the data of our YouTube channel, some of the videos that we've got the most views on is actually from the A&D Talk series. I mean, the David Carson one alone has had way over 1,000 views. So students are watching these videos and going back and watching them over and over again, and really interacting, sort of, interacting with the art world on a bigger scale, if that makes sense.